Good morning and welcome to the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. Please take a seat and turn to page 2 in your stapled liturgy book. Gata of Atonement. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 Refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. There's no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life is rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana Refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers. For the lineage of teachers before them, I give thanks and offerings for the devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, and may their vows be completely realized. May I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings, generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please turn now in your spiral-bound book to the reading for today, which is found on page 26, Days Like Lightning. The days and months go by like lightning. We should value the time we pass from the life to death and the time that it takes to breathe in and breathe out. I'm sorry, it is on page 36. I don't know what I said, but it was wrong. Page 36, please. Days like lightning. Yes. And may we remember the page number for the reading. Instrumentalist, maybe you could lead us into this one more time. Days like lightning. The days and months go by like lightning. We should value the time we pass from life to death in the time it takes to breathe in and breathe out. It's hard to guarantee even the morning and an evening. Whether walking or standing, sitting or lying down, do not waste even a minute. Become ever braver and bolder. Be like our original teacher, Shakyamuni, who kept on progressing energetically. When the mind ground is equanimous and awake, you will have profound certainty in the inherent and the Buddhas and the ancestral teachers. You must accomplish this correctly. Mind is the natural Buddha. Why bother seeking elsewhere? Put down your myriad concerns and wake up. At the end of the road, it's like an iron wall. False thoughts are all extinguished, and extinguishing is wiped away. Body and mind resting in the void. In the stillness, a light reaches everywhere with brilliance. The original face, who is it? As soon as it is mentioned, the arrow sinks in stone. When the mass of doubt is shattered amid all the particulars, one thing covers the blue sky. Do not talk with people without wisdom. Do not become overjoyed. Visit Zen teachers. Show them how your mind works and ask for their teaching. After that, you can be called one who continues the tradition of the ancestral teachers. Our family style is not remote. When tired, we stretch out our legs and sleep. When hungry, we let our mouths eat. In the human realm, what school is this? Blows and shouts fault like raindrops. Please turn now in your stapled book to page 4. We will do the Heart Sutra, and then we will immediately go to the page 6 after. Please stand. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva practicing deep Prajna Paramita clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness, no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness, exactly form. Sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by Prajna Paramita with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond elusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future Prajna Paramita attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that Prajna Paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra which completely removes all suffering, This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the Prajna Paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and proclaim Gate Gate Para, Gate Parasam, Gate Bodhisvaha, Gate Gate Para, Gate Parasam, Gate Bodhisvaha, Gate Gate Para, Gate Parasam, Gate Bodhisvaha. Enmei Juku Kanangyo Kanzeya Namu Butsuyo Butsu Enyo Butsu En Bopo So Enjo Rakugajo Chonen Kanzeyan Bonen Kanzeyan Nennen Jushin Ki Nennen Furishin Kanzeyan Namu Butsuyo Butsu Enyo Butsu En Bopo So Enjo Rakugajo Chonen Kanzeyan Bonen Kanzeyan Nennen Jushin Ki Nennen Furishin Kanzeyan Namu Butsuyo Butsu Enyo Butsu En Bopo So Enjo Rakugajo Chonen Kanzeyan Bonen Kanzeyan Nennen Jushin Ki Nennen Furishin Absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha. Right here, this Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment the true heart arises. Time after time there is nothing but this. Absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha. Right here, this Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment the true heart arises. Time after time there is nothing but this. Absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha. Right here, this Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Moment after moment the true heart arises. Time after time there is nothing but this. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the 6 worlds, and dedicated in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Zen Temple of Toledo and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Hannah Renee, Tom Chibusco at the time of his death, Tom Tadson at the time of his death, those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Mahaprajna Paramita. Please prepare for Zazen. We'll now do walking meditation. At the sound of the clappers, the first and third rows will turn to your right. The second and back rows will turn to your left. We will now recite the Sangha Covenant, which is found on page 8 of your liturgy book. We, the Daishin Kokoji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please have a seat, sit comfortably, and face towards our teacher. In a moment, we will do the Gatha on opening the sutra, also found on page 8. Gatha on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
The disciple has requested a discourse on the nature of time. Oh, thank you very much for being here, everybody. Please sit comfortably in a way that we can see each other. I'd like to talk today on finding a worthy friend, but a particular meaning, a particular angle to this. This weekend, many gathered here from around the country, California, East Coast, south, to investigate deeply what it is to practice law, to be a lawyer, and to advocate on behalf of folks who need it. But not just understanding law, but how to actually manifest compassion in the world, to make the bodhisattva vow, which all of us have resonance with. How does that express in law? And it's a very deep practice, and it's a very deep study. And I think it's very important that each of us realize that our practice of the Buddha Dharma is not just for our own stress reduction. Wonderful if that happens, maybe. But what's actually the most important thing is that we realize the truth of ourselves and fearlessly embody that and live that and share it. That can be stressful. But it's far less stressful than living a lie. Far less. Even if it's a comforting lie, a tale that's easy to spin and well received, still, if it's not authentic, will not really serve you, and certainly will not really help those who need you to show up as yourself. So there are certainly particulars in the practice of law. There's a skill set, which I clearly do not have, that has to do with the details of that vocation. You have to know your stuff. You have to be able to bring insights to bear. You have to be able to advocate clearly and effectively on behalf of those who need it. But it's not limited, obviously, to simply just practicing law. Each of us who is resonant even the littlest bit with the Dharma should understand clearly that this is not a place to come and escape from the world. I mean, you can try. Oh, I'll go on a Zen retreat and escape from it all, and then it clobbers you from the beginning to the end all the way through. Because really, it's just your life. It's just being able to settle down and actually encounter our life. You are the world now appearing as you. Can you tolerate that? Can you love that? Can you express it even if it scares you? And so whether you're a music teacher or a psychologist or in the military or in the business of living a home, making a home, caring for younger generations, whatever. Maybe you're in the business of trying to figure out what the hell your business is going to be in the world. It's fine. It's all perfect. But there's a way to do it. There's a way to embody those moments that expresses this heart of compassion. The wisdom of the Buddha is not remote. It really isn't. It's not some esoteric, otherworldly thing. You are not some esoteric, otherworldly thing. We're very much here. Hopefully. So there was a quarrel once at Kosambi. Of course, you've heard of the quarrel at Kosambi. It needs no retelling. Simply to mention the name, it all comes to mind. But truly, there was a quarrel at Kosambi, and it's recorded in the Pali Canon tradition. And I'll read a touch. Now, on that occasion, the monks at Kosambi had taken to arguing and quarreling and had fallen into a dispute, stabbing each other with piercing words. Stabbing each other with piercing words. Has anyone here ever been stabbed with a piercing word? Has anyone here ever thrown such a dagger? Have you perhaps thrown the dagger at your own heart? I think so. Because I have, and I know the feeling. Ow. So then a certain monk went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage and observing the rites, stood to one side of the teacher and said, Bhante, the monks at Kosambi have taken to arguing and quarreling and have fallen into a dispute, stabbing each other with piercing words. It would be good, Bhante, if the Blessed One would go to those monks out of compassion. The Blessed One consented in silence. And I would advise that we consider each morsel a nutrient. There are no throwaways in these things. It's not incidental that the Buddha consented in silence. Then the Blessed One went to those monks and said to them, Enough, monks, let there be no arguing and quarreling and dispute. Seems like a good move. Y'all stop it. Enough. Dad's here. When this was said, a certain monk then said to the Blessed One, Wait, Bhante, let the Blessed One, the Lord of the Dharma, live at ease, devoted to pleasant abiding. We are the ones who will be responsible for this dispute. Don't worry yourself. You go and enjoy your, snag a beautiful hut in the woods. We'll bring you some food. Care not, think not on these things, Holy One. We'll handle this argument. Is this an appropriate response? The Buddha called for his hammer. Anyway, for a second time, for a third time, the Blessed One again said, Enough. No, really, enough. Let there be no arguing, no quarreling, and no dispute. And for the second and the third time, this young'un said, Wait, Bhante, wait. We are the ones who will be responsible for this. Don't worry, we got it. Just chill, Buddha. Walks up to the dragon and tweaks the whisker. Well, then, when it was morning, the Blessed One dressed and taking the bowl and the outer robe, entered the town, Kosambi, for alms. This was the normative practice at the time. This would, it echoes, you see the bowls in the back of the zendo, a few are there still. These oryoki bowls that we use are the direct descendants of the practice of the ordained community putting on the robe and going to the village and asking for food. So this is how you get along in the world as a monk at that time in this place. So this is also not insignificant. This is not a throwaway line. The Buddha responded in silence. You can muse on that. Then he went and said, y'all cut it out. And the young'un said, no, we got it. And he just said again, no, y'all cut it out. Stop it. And again, the young'un, I mean, it might be hard to appreciate this, but, in many tellings of encounters with not just the Buddha, but the various masters of the lineage, to go up and say, no, 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 really. This is kind of an intensely stupid thing to do. Depending. I mean, to be frank, there are times when I've been very grateful that people in this community have said, Rinzan, really, no, you need to reconsider this. And I'm grateful to hear that. But that's a very specific, organizational thing or something like this. We're talking Dharma here. That's a whole other realm now. So there's a couple of ways of kind of feeling into this young'un. I leave it to you. But remember, you're every character in these tales. No, I got it. Be very careful of that one. That need to defend your arguing. The need to savor your poisoned words. Be careful. And what did the Buddha do in response? He really didn't call for the magic hammer and smite the young'un and turn him to dust there or anything. I expect, and though it's not written here, I expect the Buddha at the third time simply sat down in silence. Doesn't say it, but that's what I can feel. And then the next day, time to make the donuts, as it says. Time to do what we do. So he put on the appropriate, took his bowls, went to the village. When he had wandered for alms in Kosambi and had returned from his alms round after the meal, he set his resting place in order, took his bowl and outer robe, and while still standing, uttered these lines. Now, this is a situation that has echoes in our retreats. There's a custom, a tradition that, the community is gathered, the meal is served. No one eats until whoever the senior person eats, right? Whoever that happens to be, So if Reverend Chokai is here and Doan and myself are not, then we wait. And when she takes the first bowl, then everybody begins to eat. So it's something like this, right? So the Buddha's done the thing. There's the food. There's the bowls. He's standing there. The expectation is, okay, now they'll sit down and we'll get to it. But he doesn't. Here he interrupts the pattern. When many voices shout at once, none consider themselves to be a fool. Though the Sangha is being split, none thinks themselves to be at fault. When many voices shout at once, no one consider themselves a fool. I can't help but think of the news. The various extreme YouTube gurus of various persuasions. None consider themselves a fool. This is most foolish. Though the Sangha itself is being split apart, none thinks themselves to be at fault. Shouting and shouting and shouting, over and above and on top of. It's part of the skill that was so handsomely coached by Joshua Carton and Hoshi. How do you as an attorney actually communicate on behalf of the person who needs your help without just shouting, without pushing and smashing and forcing? How do you as a parent or as a child, with a parent who's verging into dementia, or with that doctor who is not really hearing you. and this prognosis matters. They have forgotten thoughtful speech. Their talking is obsessed by the words alone. Uncurbed their mouths they bawl at will. None knows what leads them so to act. In other words, they're not even aware of the algorithm of suffering that is playing out. The conditioning just has them. Completely unaware, triggers triggered, conditioning playing out, shouting, shouting, shouting. None seeing that they have any fault or flaw. He abused me, he struck me, he defeated me, he robbed me. In those who harbor and savor thoughts like these, enmity will never be allayed. In other words, if we savor over and over and over and ruminate and gestate, frankly, no peace can come. Now, you can be abused, and that is not acceptable. That needs to be said. It's not saying just go ahead and be a victim. That's the point of Buddhism, not hardly. But he's talking about the inner experience that generates suffering, or not. He's pointing to that. In those who savor and harbor stories like these, peace will never come. You ever found yourself carrying on an argument that actually ended a decade ago or longer? It's like, no, who are you arguing with? Who are you presiding before or holding court with? What the hell? It's this conditioning running itself again and again. And where are you in this? The real you. At such times, what the hell is a very good question. It's an excellent mantra. What the hell? It's a very good mantra. What is this? Why am I doing this? Who is doing this? For in this world, hatred is never dispelled by hate. Enmity is never dispelled by more enmity. Rather, it is resolved by non-hatred. This is the law, fixed and ageless. It's interesting how many different traditions claim that, and I wish they were all right. I wish we would get it. I don't care who claims the quote. But you know, when you're seduced by the juice of this ruminative algorithm of righteousness, it seems a reward. It seems powerful. It seems like you matter somehow. Some great drama that needs resolution now must be handled as you shower. Drop it. There's something better you can do. Those others do not recognize that here we should restrain ourselves, but the wise ones who realize this at once end their hatred. So it's kind of interesting. We had a lot of conversation, a lot of work this weekend that kind of centered around, you have a particular way that has served you well in spots. And so we use it everywhere, wondering why it no longer works. Guitar players are notorious for this unconscious vibrato. All the time, on everything, no matter what. It's like SpongeBob. It's like, why are you doing that? Doing what? That vibrato. I'm not vibratoing. Wee. Dude, yes, you are. No. Oh, God. It's a nervous twitch. It's like the music itself can't be enough. I've got to put ketchup on it. You know? Now, listen, when you hear B.B. King, it's working for him. But even B.B. King doesn't do that vibrato on every goddamn note. Do you understand? So it has to, there's a time and a place. Ketchup is great, but not in your coffee. You don't, not always so, as Suzuki Roshi said. But the problem is we get really good at hiding our lack of skill with cooking with ketchup, and so we dump it on everything we serve and eat, because once it worked. It takes a lot of courage to own what, sure, ketchup works sometime. Vibrato's fine in the right time and place, but not all the time. And it's scary because you know how to do ketchup. And if I don't do ketchup, what am I going to do? What if nobody likes it? Well, here I recommend that you trust the not knowing and enjoy it. Let's see. Let's see what comes up. And this mind of curiosity and questioning is the opposite of I know what's right and I will pummel you with it until you submit. The Buddha went on, and I'll close with this. He said, if one can find a worthy friend, a virtuous, steadfast companion, then overcome all threats of danger and walk with them content and mindful. And I would suggest that that's what I saw these brave attorneys working towards, learning how to become a worthy friend, a worthy servant, a worthy guide and leader. But it certainly doesn't end just with Hoshi and his work in the world or the many attorneys who were here. Of course, it is that. It's an amazing example, frankly, of whom I'm very proud. How do you take this esoteric Zen tradition and make it relevant to the world? He's a guy you can ask. There are others. But what about you? Well, I'm retired. It's not what this is about. I'm just an employee, or I'm just unemployed, or I'm just a student. Just drop the just. Embody the truth of your life exactly there, and be a worthy friend. First of all, to yourself. Enough with the poison words in your own heart. Love yourself, like for real. Not the stupid meme version, I mean for real. Actually for true. And then this worthy friend that you know how to do with yourself, even though you know you're a klutz. You know you goof things up. You know you get it wrong. Doesn't matter. Love yourself all the more and enjoy it. Isn't it great, all the mistakes you made? It's wonderful. Nobody should do that. But it's one of the things that's so interesting in Zen training. It's like there's this very formal kind of space, you want to get it right. And when it's wrong, the most common response is actually laughter. Not at the person, by the way. It's just actual humor. Isn't that interesting? Right? I mean, not always. There can be correctives, sure. What would it be like if you could actually, make your goofs and find humor in them? Really? Instead of being so serious about yourself all the time. You know what I mean? Pummeling the world with your foibles. Stop it. The world's laughing, believe me. You might as well join in. It's the song of life. It's okay. And you want to fix it, of course. I'm not saying things don't matter, but the way that you be a worthy friend to your own worst moment is exactly the way you can be a worthy friend to a world that desperately needs it. So may we all take up the practice of being worthy friends to ourselves, to each other in this community, and in whatever it is that the world has you doing, that you choose to do in this world. Go there not just as someone who guts it out. Go there as a worthy friend. Let's bring life to life, shall we? And enjoy it. May it be so.
We'll now recite the Bodhisattva vows found on page 8. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our service for this morning. I'm getting the microphone. Are there announcements, please? That's shown.
Session is coming up in just a few weeks. Registration is still open. You heard Roshi talk a little bit about that today. So if you've never done a Zen retreat and this is your first time you're interested, please come see me after service and we can talk about what that first introduction looks like. For everybody else, the registration form is open. Please make sure to sign up.
So next Sunday, after service and after our delicious potluck at 1:30, we will have our Death and Dying workshop, which is basically organizationally and dharmically, how do we actually meet the end of life? And we'll go into details, memorial services, funerals, our vision for the cemetery. We will have handouts and a slideshow, I believe. Puja. So we hope to see you then, 1:30 to about 2:30 or 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Also, this Friday night is game night. If you've been to game night, raise your hand. So bring a game, bring a friend, bring a snack, bring your own beverages and non-alcoholic beverages, and have some fun.
Hi. So some of you know there's a sacred music concert put on by it's a fundraiser for the Multi-Faith Council on Monday, November 7th, and we are doing a musical number. So those of you who are interested in participating in this, please see me after we get a little bit of food here and right around here. I actually have music for everyone. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, but you're curious, please come too, and I can get you in our messenger group. So thank you.
Just quickly regarding the potluck, most of you are familiar with it, but I will try to put out a sign-up sheet in the Facebook group this week. If you can, be sure to put your name on there and what you plan to bring, because it helps us to plan around what you're bringing. Please bring something that is vegetarian or vegan. Let's see, what else do we need? I think that's about it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Please restore the Zendo.